chapter 50. A psalm of Asaph. God, God, the Lord, hath spoken and called the earth, from the rising of the sun unto the going down thereof. Out of Zion the perfection of beauty God hath shined forth. Our God comes, and doth not keep silence. A fire devoureth before him, and round about him it stormeth mightily. He calleth to the heavens above and to the earth, that he may judge his people. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. And the heavens declare his righteousness, for God, he is judge. Selah. Hear, O my people, and I will speak, O Israel, and I will testify against you. God, your God, am I. I will not reprove you for your sacrifices, and your burnt offerings are continually before me. I will take no bullock out of your house, nor he-goats out of your folds. For every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle upon 1,000 hills. I know all the fowls of the mountains, and the wild beasts of the field are mine. If I were hungry, I would not tell you, for the world is mine, and the fullness thereof. Do I eat the flesh of bulls, or drink the blood of goats? Offer unto God the sacrifice of thanksgiving, and pay your vows unto the Most High, and call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver you, and you shall honor me. But unto the wicked, God says, what have you to do to declare my statutes, that you have taken my covenant in your mouth, seeing you hatest instruction, and castest my words behind you? When you saw a thief, you had company with him, and with adulterers was your portion. You have let loose your mouth for evil, and your tongue frameth deceit. You sittest and speakest against your brother. You slanderest your own mother's son. These things have you done, and should I have kept silence? You have thought that I was altogether such a one as yourself. But I will reprove you, and set the cause before your eyes. Now consider this, you that forget God, lest I tear in pieces, and there be none to deliver. Whoso offers the sacrifice of thanksgiving honoreth me, and to him that orders his way aright, I will show the salvation of God. All right, let's go back up to verse 1. Now, today we have a psalm of Asaph. Asaph means the gatherer, the one who gathers. This here's a psalm. We know that Asaph was one of the heads of his father's houses in the time of David. We're going to pick it up here in verse 1. God, the Lord, has spoken and called the earth, from the rising of the sun and the going down thereof. God, the Almighty, the everlasting Elohim, the mighty one of the mighty ones, the mighty one even of strength, has spoken, and he has called the earth. He has called the earth from the rising of the sun to the going down thereof. And this rising of the sun just don't mean it. And it's like a day, though. We can consider it's like a day, the rising of the sun. It goes down. That's kind of like a day, even though the day begins with sunset. Because what we're talking about is from the time the sun began to rise to the time the sun stops rising and going down. When it goes down its last time, so to speak, from the beginning to the end. 2. Out of Zion the perfection of beauty God has shined forth. And out of Zion's that parched place. It's a place of judgment from before. It's a marker. It's a place that's set for a reason, a reminder that you can see and understand this was a place of judgment before. It's the perfection of beauty. And God shined forth upon it. Well, that's where God's understanding touched it. The light, the fire, whatever you want to say. 3. Our God comes and doth not keep silence. A fire devours before him, and round about him it storms mightily. Our God comes, and he's not keeping silence. There's a great confusion, a great commotion all about. Fire and the sound of it, the crackling and the popping. This fire that devours is the judgment of God. It goes forth with the law. See, God is righteous. God is God is all calmness. He is love. He is everlasting perpetuality. He is the continuance of all things. God is peace. And because he is so peaceful, because he is so calm, commotion is all about, because he is all calmness. And we would see only great commotion, a great storm, a great chaos around God. 5. He calls to the heavens above and to the earth. He may judge that he may judge his people. He calls to the heavens above, and that's on all the understandings there are, all those who are of understanding, and to the earth. That's the flesh, the earth, the dirt, the terra firma, and we are made from the dirt, and that's what we are. That's the flesh. Then he may judge his people. So God's not only going to judge the soul, God's going to judge the flesh as well. See, he is God of heaven, and he is a God of the earth. 5. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. And he says, gather together my saints. Gather together those anointed ones. Gather together my chosen ones. Gather together those, we can call them Mashiachs, the anointed ones. Gather them together. There's more than one. It's plural. Unto me, those that have made a covenant. Those that have made an agreement with me. We know what the agreement is. God gave the agreement in the beginning. The agreement's never going to change. What's going to change is you, when you accept it, or when you do not take it up. See, God says this is the agreement. There's no compromise. Those that make a covenant with me by sacrifice, and we're going to find out what this sacrifice is. What sacrifice is God talking about? Do I got to take a bullock down or a goat down or something down? God never required those things. You did when you sinned. His mercy made a way. 6. And the heavens declare his righteousness, for God, he is judge. Selah. The heavens declare his righteousness, God's justness, God's equality, his equalness. It's to all, it's equal. There's his righteousness. He's God. He is the judge. His is the right to decide. His, not ours. If we left true judgment up to man, we would find he would pervert it for his own gain. That's what he's about, these things of flesh. But God is not like that. God is all understanding. He is all knowledge. He is all wisdom. He is all goodness. All goodness. And only the wickedness is outside of him. See, it's not caused by him. He causes the goodness. It's the free will, keep that in mind, that causes the change. 7. Hear, O my people, and I will speak. O Israel, and I will testify against you. God, your God am I. Listen, God says, my people are those that I've chosen, those that I'm talking to, those that I'm in your heart. You can hear me speak, O Israel. These are those that contend with the mighty one. That's who they are. They're struggling against God's understanding, against God's law, against God's wisdom and knowledge that he give you for your own good. You know what it is. And when you do wrong, you know you're doing wrong. I will testify against you. Once again, against you. Why? Because we'll find out. That's what it's all about. Is testify against you. I testify against you with righteousness. I testify against you with justice. I testify against you with goodness. And these all your ways speak for themselves. 8. I will not reprove you for your sacrifices or your burnt offerings. And your burnt offerings are continually before me. I'm not going to reprove you for your sacrifices, these things which you offer for your sin. See, God's not going to reprove you. Why? Because that was the law. That was the law. That was the mercy he was trying to show you in the beginning. And your burnt offerings are continual. It's forever. It's a perpetual thing. Nobody can put an end to it. It's forever. They're continually before me. 9. I, I will take no bullock out of your house, nor he goats out of your folds. But I will take no bullock out of your house. I didn't ask for these things. This was not a requirement, or the he goat out of your field. These things that you would offer for sin, that was not the requirement of God. God's requirement was the offerings, and we're going to find out these offerings of thanksgiving. Free will is what it boils down to. When you sinned, then you required these things. God done knew you was going to. He knew by the way you were. He knew, Israel, by how you acted. Stiff-necked, hard-headed. Always having to learn the hard way. 10. For every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle upon 1,000 hills. Every beast of the forest is mine, and all the cattle upon 1,000 hills. And 1,000 means all of them. Means the fulfillment, the completion. Every one of the hills. All these, it's all mine, God says. Every bit of it. 11. I know all the fowls of the mountain, the wild beasts of the field are mine. I know all the fowls of the mountains. These things that soar, that live in the high places, God says, I know all of them. I created them. I know them by name. And the wild beasts of the field, they are mine as well. All these things, they all belong to God. A wild beast are those things that dwell outside. Those things that don't dwell under the common rule of man's hand. 12. If I were hungry, I would not tell you, for the world is mine, and the fullness thereof. If I were hungry, I wouldn't tell you. Why? You don't have the ability to feed God. You don't have the ability to give God substance to nourish him. You get that from God. God ain't going to tell you when he's hungry. Why? The world says if he wanted something to eat, he would draw everything from it. 13. Do I eat the flesh of bulls or drink the blood of he-goats? But do I eat the flesh of bulls? God don't eat flesh. He's not like us. He don't drink blood of goats. Would you drink the blood of goats? God don't drink the blood of goats either. It's a nasty thing. God said, pour it out. Pour it on the earth. Pour it out. 14. Offer unto God the sacrifice of thanksgiving, and pay your vows unto the Most High. Offer you unto God. Offer you unto the Almighty. That's Elohim, the mighty one of the strengths. He is the God of thanksgiving. And this is your sacrifice of thanksgiving, is free will. We're going to find out. Pay your vows unto the Most High. Do what you say you're going to do. Don't keep putting it off. Oh, I'll turn from my wickedness tomorrow after I've done this, or I'll change on the next time, or I'll do this, or I'll do that. Trying to make compromise. 15. Call upon me in the day of trouble, and I will deliver you, and you shall honor me. Call on me in the day of trouble. Why? Because you're outside God's understanding. You're outside God's law. You're outside his wisdom and knowledge. There's going to be trouble. And when you have it, call on me, he says. And I will deliver you. Then you shall honor me. Then you'll know I'm God. But unto the wicked, God says, what have you to do to declare my statutes? That you have taken my covenant in your mouth. But unto the wicked, a little typo here, should be a comma. God says, and this is to the wicked. That's those that have knowledge, that transgress with understanding. They know what they're doing. They know it's wrong. But they continue to do it. God wants to help you. What have you to do to declare my statutes? Why are you speaking of God's word, and you speak it with your mouth, and you turn around and do the opposite? You have taken my covenant in your mouth. You've taken it up in your mouth, and you run it, but can you You talk the talk, but you won't walk the walk. These are the wicked. You speak it because you claim to have it, you claim to know it, but then you don't do it. See, and you wickedly transgress with wickedness. That means you're doing some harm. 17, seeing you hatest instruction and castest my words behind you. Seeing you hate instruction. How can you give instruction? Seeing you hate instruction. Cast my words behind you. You won't listen to what I say. You say, oh, I don't have to do that. Throw it back there behind your back like you're greater than the law, higher than the law. Now, see, that's where a great error comes in. 18. When you saw a thief, you had company with him, and with the adulterers was your portion. With these adulterers was your portion. What is an adulterer? An adulterer is somebody goes into another understanding. Somebody goes into, we can say a woman. A woman? Can we use a woman? Yes. Woman is something from man. An understanding comes from man. You go into another understanding from man. A woman. You go polluting. You go out seeking other gods, idols. These things men try to tell you, oh, this is God. They got some kind of image there to present to you. See, when you saw a thief, you had company with him. He's a thief. He's a liar and a thief. A liar he's to steal the truth, claiming to have it. He does wickedly. He never obeys the law. 19. You've let loose your mouth for evil, and your tongue frames deceit. You've let loose your mouth. It's pouring out wickedness, see, and your tongue's framing deceit. It's working. It's working. It frames it up. It's making a prison house. So and this is what you've done. This is what you do. You frame deceit. 20. You sit and you speak against your brother. You slander your own mother's son. And we're talking to Israel. That's all those other nations don't even know who they are anymore. They forgot who they are. God said that he was going to do that. See? You struggle against God's understanding. You struggle against God's knowledge. You struggle against God's wisdom. Ain't nobody got to point you out. Ain't nobody got to tell you who you are. You know who you are. God knows who you are. You speak against your brother. That's your own mother's son. That's the one of the same understanding as you. And you slander. Trying to cause to be a liar. 21. These things have you done. And should I have kept silence? You have thought that I was altogether such a one as yourself. But I will reprove you and set the cause before your eyes. These things have you done. It's the blatant truth. It comes out. See, it's exposed after time. Should I have kept silence? Should I have just shut my mouth and not said, this is what's going on. You have thought that I was altogether such a one as yourself. So you thought that I was just one who would take to that understanding, go off with you in that knowledge. But we're going to find out. It don't work like that, see. But I will reprove you. Set the cause before your eyes. You're going to be made to know. God says, I'm going to correct you. I'm going to cause you to understand. I'm going to make you to know what you've done. See, and that's judgment right there. That's judgment. See, by God's grace going forth and God's peace going forth, God's mercy, God's law, God's understanding, His knowledge, wisdom, He give you for your own good. When you transgress it, it's made evident of itself. Ain't nobody got to point you out. Nobody's got to say nothing because you know who you are. God knows who you are. When you realize, believe me, God's done standing there waiting. That's what He's waiting for you. You to realize, you to get your understanding, you to get your knowledge and your wisdom, and return. 22. Now consider this, you that forget God, lest I tear in pieces, there be none to deliver. Now consider it. Unless God just all out tear. That's the consequence. See, that's the consequence. Being torn out, ripped up, shaken off, and cast out where there's no hope. There's lack of. See, thirst, hunger. There'll be none to deliver. Ain't nobody going to save you now. See, you're all alone in it. 23. Whoso offers the sacrifice of thanksgiving honoreth me, and to him that orders his way right will I show the salvation of God. Whoso offers the sacrifice of thanksgiving honors me. Let's go look at this word, thanksgiving. I believe King James Version says whoever offers praise. The word is todah. And it's the same thing. It's that offering of thanksgiving. It's confession. Confession. Praise. Thanksgiving. Why? Yes, we've done wrong. Yes, we're willing to turn. Yes, we're going to need some help. Constant reminders along the way. But if we pick up the law, meditate in it, stay in it day and night, try to find the understanding in it, we'll find out God's going to bring you by the way. He's going to lead you. And all it takes is the admission of, and the reaching forth, the returning, the coming back. And this is the one that orders his way straight. This is to make your way straight. Get back on the path. Get back on the way. See, back into Torah, back into the law. God says, and I will show you salvation, because God is the salvation in the law, and the understanding, and the knowledge, and the wisdom He gave you for your own good in the beginning. Moving forward, Psalms 51, turn and return.